Hi, this is the week 2 wrap up of the Zoom simulation, and I created a new company called Blank just to point out some common mistakes that people can be making that reduces their score. So, this company actually had a loss of 126 points. So, let's analyze what happened here. Okay, so the one huge problem here is that the profit margins were identical. So there was no improvement in profit margins from gross, operational, and net. Uh, so this is something shareholders don't like. There was a slight improvement of 2% of sales, but as you can see, uh, as they picked up in assets, their sales increase didn't match up the asset increase, and they had a lower return on investment, on equity, although earnings per share did go up slightly and total asset turnover went up slightly, but really no significant change. The company was able to increase the market capitalization, and that can happen if an industry is hot. All stocks in the industry can increase, and this industry is a growth industry. So I think the reason the stock price goes up, even if the company underperforms slightly, is that it's just a bubble industry right now because the growth of each of the car markets are in the double digits and some, 35%, I think, for the luxury. I gotta check that. Anyway, the sales forecasting was okay. Now the deficit, I guess they had a small, they had a $19 million deficit, so they lost 100 points for that, and they did no operational investments and lost another 100 points. So that was some problems. So if we look at their charts, we can see that um, profits did increase slightly. Sales increased, but you can see here that profits, is a very slight increase. And there was a problem of under forecasting by here's 900 vehicles and here's 600 vehicles. So the under forecasting, we got to get 447 vehicles. So the under forecasting cost them a lot of uh, profits because they're not able to get those economies of scale or get the total asset turnover up as much as they should because they're not fully utilizing their assets because they're underselling, they're under manufacturing and not meeting the demand for their products. And that is not a good thing. If we look at the industry charts, we can see that this company, Blank, here, had the lowest profits, negative points, and their sales just went slightly up. So they really did not perform well here. Now, uh, on the industry page, we can see that, if you look at Blank, they have no operational cost reductions. And I think that is one of the two major problems is not reinvesting in their company. They also have very low gross profit margins, and they're not increasing them. Remember, we started out at 40% profit margins, and now they're under, in three of their categories, they're under the 40%. Only one category, they're above the 40%. So that really, shows them to be uncompetitive in the marketplace. Uh, okay, so let's take a look at my company, and I'll show you what I've done because I was the underperformer in round one, and I was able to turn it around and become a lead performer in round two. So let's take a look at my company. Okay, so this is my company I've been running, and I was able to make 1,000 points over the my strategies from last round. So my biggest strategy last round was to increase my profit margins. And I was able to go from 37, 16, and 10 to 55, 35, and 24. So in all three areas, I greatly increased my profit margins. I increased my sales by 88% by showing you that forecast method I used last round where I looked at my market potential, took the growth of the industry, and applied it so I could fully capitalize on the demand for my products. Because my profit margins went up, it had a cascading effect on my total asset turnover, on my equity multiplier, my earnings per share, my return on assets, market capitalization, the book value of the company. Now, my forecasts were pretty accurate, so I didn't really lose or make any points there. And this is really generally the forecasting area is not a place where you make or lose points. You're hoping to get close to 100% forecasting accuracy so you don't lose too many points. So this is not really a place you're going to generate a lot of points. You're just trying not to lose a lot of points here. Now I doubled my operational investments, which earned me, 100% increase, which is 100 points for that operational investments, and I also was able to maintain a surplus, which was another 100 points. So overall, I was able to score 1,000 points. Now remember, I'm competing against myself from last round. So last round in year one, I didn't do so well. So in year two, I did much better, and then I was able to get a higher score. So even if you have a round like I did where you're in last place, you could still come back by getting all your strategy straight and putting things back on track. Now, granted, in year three, I'm going to have a tough time competing against myself because I did so well in year two, and I'm not going to probably have, you know, points in the 1,000 point range. I'll be lucky to get between 300 and 500 points in a year where I'm competing against a really strong performance of myself. Although I've seen students try to purposely make a weak performance and then come back with a strong performance and a weak performance. I've never seen that strategy actually win the simulation. I've seen that actually put them closer to last place if they try to game the system and try to make their year-over-year increases big every other year. So that doesn't work as a strategy, and it's really not in the spirit of the simulation that's trying to game the simulation to your advantage, and it doesn't work so well. But like I had said last round, the changes I made, if you see my first overview video, has resulted in a decent amount of points. So if we go to the charts, we can see that I had a nice uptick in my profits and my sales, my earnings per share in points, and that I was able to meet, just about meet, maybe very close to meeting all my demand for my vehicle. So very efficient round for me. And you can look in the production page, and I had only 26 unsold cars. When you have a lot of current inventory, that's what leads to the unexpected deficit. So you may say, well, my pro forma showed a surplus. I don't understand why I have a deficit once the round was processed. Look here, if you have a current inventory and you have cars in your current inventory, those cars are unsold and they're not being added to your profits, which gets in turn added to your surplus. So if you don't sell all the cars you forecast, you may have unexpected deficit. So now where would I go from here? Well, I would go, first I would stop into the industry page and I would look to see what the other competitors are doing, where their gross profit margins are, what their cost reductions were, their market potential. And remember, a market potential between, if you have a potential of 2.72 and a potential of 3%, that can mean a significant difference in the amount of cars you sell. We're going to get to the end of the simulation where we're selling thousands and thousands of cars. So 0.5% difference in market potential can result in hundreds and hundreds of extra cars being sold. So I'd kind of go in here and analyze to see what the other competitors are at and what they've been doing. Now on the charts page, if we look at the industry charts, we can see that as far as net profits, Philip Autos were pretty high on net profits, as was a number of companies are maintaining their profit superiority, which is really good. Now, I'm trying to find my company. Know how these. Oh, here I am. I guess I am this orange bar. So my profits are touching the 80 million mark, and my points are leading the pack. Well, remember, a lot of people perform very well in the first round, and anything over 400 points is performing excellent, especially coming off a strong first round. So there's a number of companies here that had a very strong first round and are doing very well in the second round, earning over 400 points, the majority of the class. So majority of the class is doing very well in their points so far. And you can see here that Philip Autos has the #1 stock price, and that comes along with, I think, some of the strategies that they've been running early on, which was buying back stock, investing in their company, buying back stock when it was cheap, which is helping to push up their stock price and per share price, and also being very high up there in sales and profits. And then we have the pack here, and we have blank at the bottom of the pack. So and we could see that there's a lot of change over here with some of the companies in the middle. #1 sales, Henderson Auto has the #1 sales in the company. You can see that some people had very high, very large changes in their slope, making a significant turnaround in their sales. Um, and also earnings per share. If you see, my company has a very nice, strong slope increase here, putting me in the top 5 teams of earnings per share. Um, so where would I go from here? I would go, I have to redesign my cars again. But now I have a significant cost reduction of 3,000 a vehicle. So when I go to redesign my cars now, I have a little bit more ability to meet meet my customers' expectations, or even exceed them, and still maintain. I want to maintain a profit margin, higher than last round. So here, let's see. That's 39%. That's pretty low. So I'm going to go back to my overview and see that my gross profit margins were 55%. So in making my cars this round, I want to try and aim for um, a 55% level. So I may have to pull back on some of my areas to get, higher, maintain. And it gets difficult because the customer expectations have changed. Their customers are expecting more now. So for me to be within their customer expectations, it's difficult. And some students have questioned the fact that some teams are succeeding by coming in or under the low end of expectations to greatly increase their profit margins. So, and they say that intuitively, as a customer, you're led to believe through marketing that that doesn't exist. That companies um, don't, don't do this to their consumer. But in this day and age, if you look around, a good number of companies have been undercutting customers' expectations and maintaining prices or increasing prices, and they're still selling their products. So I'm going to see if I can come up with a few examples of this. Okay, so here's a list of some products from, this is Today Money website, some products where they have shrunk the size. So Ivory soap has gone from 30 ounces to 24 ounces, same price. Orange juice has gone from a common size of 64 ounces to 59 ounces, a 7.8% decrease. Cheese slices have gone from 24 to 22 slices. Paper towels have gone from 96 square feet to 85 square feet. Ice creams have gone from 16 to 14 ounces. I saw some as small as 12 ounces now. Scott toilet tissue went from 115 square feet to 105 square feet. Let's see. Chicken of the Sea went from 3 to 2.6 ounces. Hebrew National went from 12 to 11 ounces. These are all examples of products that they have been shrinking the size of the product, but yet maintaining or increasing the price. So not meeting customers' expectations of the amount of product they're getting, but for a fair amount of customers, they don't necessarily notice or do the comparison shopping that they do. They just know the brand they buy, even though that they're getting less by paying the same price. These companies are still selling the same amount of product, even in many cases providing consumers with lower quality. Here's an example of some more products. These are actual, see if I can get this bigger. These are actual products where the company has shrunk them a great deal. Dial soap, Dannon yogurt. I know yogurt has gone down in size drastically over the past 10 years. Edie's ice cream has decreased by a great deal. Doritos from the original packaging has gotten smaller. Hellmann's mayonnaise bottles, although that might just be the reshaping of the bottles. Country Crock went from 48 to 45 ounces. Frosted Flakes box shrank from the 24 ounces, 0.3 to 24 to 19, and now to 18 ounces. But the price, inflation adjusted, is higher. Same thing with Honey Nut Cheerios. Of course, Dial Soap. Bounty Towels have gotten smaller. We covered that sort of before. Dannon Yogurt. Yogurt was originally 12 ounces. Then it was moved to 8 ounces and now 6. So we're getting half of what we used to get in our yogurts, and we're paying the same price for them. Let's see. Fruit Loops. Okay, so that's just some more examples. Okay, so here is a video I'm going to play. Let's see. I'm not sure how the audio is going to come across, but I'm going to play it. So hold on.
There's a consumer survey saying almost half of us have switched grocery stores this year looking for lower prices. Well, now a heads up from fellow consumers, an army of eagle-eyed shoppers who have been tracking the way the amount inside some of the boxes is shrinking. By the way, it's an army that includes a very young general, and here's ABC's Elizabeth Leamy.
Hi, I'm here at my local discount retailer.
Jared Goodman is half teenager, half shopping sleuth.
It's a 16-bag difference, but they're both $7.99.
He scours grocery stores, catching big brands making products smaller for the same price. And he's uncovered a surprising clue.
I usually look for labels that say new and improved, because that probably means the item's been downsized.
Jared's part of a growing army of shoppers who tip off this man, Edgar Dworsky, founder of ConsumerWorld.org.
We've lost 12 tissue.
12 sneezes.
12 hot shoes gone.
We find 14 products in all that have recently gotten smaller, including Maxwell House coffee.
Good to the very last drop.
The last drop comes a lot sooner these days. The old can made 270 cups. The new one, same price, makes just 240. Pillsbury cake mixes recently shrank by 3 ounces. When we follow the instructions for making cupcakes, the old mix makes 24. But at the same price, the new barely stretches to make 21.
Brawny never lets you down.
Check this out. You used to get another 4.5 feet for the same price.
We asked the manufacturers what they're doing. They told us customers prefer smaller products to higher prices. And remember that tip from our 13-year-old detective?
Says new and improved.
He's right. When a product says new and improved, there's no legal definition of that claim. So it often means smaller, but just as expensive. Elizabeth Leamy, ABC News, Somerville, Massachusetts.
Okay, so you can see here that, in the consumer world, they have been shrinking products, calling them new and improved, and charging the same or higher prices. And for the most part, consumers don't notice. You could see one thing I noticed in my own cabinet when I looked at peanut butter, I saw that was significantly reduced. And you could tell that what they had done is they contoured the bottle more at the top. So this inside, this middle section is much thinner of a waistline. And they also dimpled the bottom greatly to have that reduction. So you see the contour here and the dimple. So it looks like the same size bottle, the same size cap as the traditional peanut butter we were buying at the 18 ounces, but they were able to squeeze out, sneak out a couple of ounces of the peanut butter without us even knowing. So are they meeting or exceeding my customer expectations on buying peanut butter? No, because my expectations of a customer is that I'm going to get more peanut butter for less money. Just like customers expect to get more car for the same or only a little bit extra money. Now, if you're making a vehicle like a consumer and you're going to go in and you're going to exceed, I'm a consumer, I'm going to make the vehicle that I want to buy. I'm going to go in and exceed my expectations on everything. And what I'm going to wind up developing is a low price vehicle that exceeds all my expectations, but the car company is only going to make a 1% profit. So this car will actually sell a great deal of cars. My potential may be a full 1 or 2 percentage points higher than everybody else. So I'll sell a lot of cars, but I'm not going to make a lot of profits. And in some industries, they do get into this war of attrition where they wind up driving the profit margins down so low that everybody in a lot of companies go to business because they just can't maintain it. So companies today are smart. What they do is they try to create a vehicle where they are actually not exceeding your expectations, or sometimes not even meeting your expectations, providing you a smaller product with less amounts for higher prices or even the same price. So you're getting less cake mix, less orange juice. So it's not meeting or exceeding your expectations, but yet you're buying it because you're not noticing, or the marketing campaign is greatly changing your mind on it. So here I can make a product that doesn't meet any of the customer expectations, but I could put a higher price on and make a much higher profit margin. Now, you would say, well, you shouldn't theoretically be selling any cars. Well, it's not true, because there are a lot of cars for sale, and most cars, no matter how terrible they are, how mispriced they are, there's still a buyer for every car. So let me give you an example of a car that doesn't meet or exceed most categories. So this car doesn't meet or exceed most of the customer expectations in the general categories. I have to go through this commercial here, I guess. Oh, is this not the commercial? This is the commercial. So put some dancing hamsters and make a really startling marketing campaign. This must be one of their newer commercials. Here, I'm going to skip ahead a bit. I have a slow connection, I guess. All right, I want to get the other commercial they had. There we go. Okay. So this is just an example of the Kia Soul commercial with the dancing hamsters. This is just here's the one I wanted to actually pull up. So this commercial had robots and lasers, spaceships, and then you see in the background the Kia Soul comes up. And it's just, it's a very low-end car. But you know what? They have dancing hamsters. And here they are. After this commercial appeared on the Super Bowl, the Kia Souls started selling out across the nation, even though they underperform in most categories of safety, number of luxury features, reliability, consumer report reviews. In most categories, they underperformed as a vehicle. However, the Kia Soul, due to the popularity of this advertisement, wound up outselling many other cars in its car class, just simply the power of the advertising. So I think in the simulation here, I can see that sort of some students getting frustrated when one car company makes a vehicle that doesn't meet or exceed customer expectations in most places and sells it for a high price, but yet due to their aggressive marketing winds up outselling them. And you feel like, well, that's not fair. That should not happen. That doesn't happen in the real world, but yet it does. So this simulation, in my point of view, can wake you up if you're a consumer that believes all the hype in the advertising, that companies are not in the business of making the best, highest quality product for you. Even though all the advertising says that, you may tend to believe it. Companies are really about making products that are going to be good enough to sell to consumers, or good enough they can market in a way that make you think that they're meeting or exceeding your expectations, and selling them at higher prices than they should, than they're really worth, in order to increase profit margins and increase total profits. So this is sort of the game all the companies are playing, where they're selling, whether it's apparel, marking it up tremendously, where they're buying pieces made in Bangladesh or China for pennies on the dollar for jeans and shirts, and then selling them at $80 to $120 a piece. And then, so consumers naturally are not going to pay $100 or $120 for a shirt. So they say, well, it's on sale. We're marking it down 50%, and you can get this $100 shirt now for $50. And you're thinking, wow, I'm totally satisfied. This meets or exceeds my expectations. But they really paid $5 for the shirt, and they're selling it to you for $50. They pulled a whole advertising scam on you, where they increase the price, give you a huge percentage discount, and then you feel like you're the king of the world, the best shopper in the world. And this is a typical strategy that Kohl's does. Also, JCPenney's used to do, until they got a new CEO who came in and said, you know what, this is like lying to the customer. we're marking prices up only to reduce them and have special coupons. Let's just redesign the store. We'll put a fair price on everything. One easy to understand price with no discounts or coupons that would be a fair price to the customer. And guess what? JCPenney's completely failed because the customer wants that feeling of superiority that they were able to use a coupon mix or discounts to get artificially highly priced clothes at what they feel is a significant discount. So there's a whole psychology that goes into the advertising and purchasing of products that is part of the strategy that we're talking about in this class. So it's not just simply you think as a consumer. As a consumer, I want to meet or exceed customer expectations at a low price because as a consumer, that's what you think you're getting and buying when you go out shopping. But in reality, what you're getting is a product that's been manipulated in a way to make you think you're getting a superior product with high quality, but you're getting a product that's going to maximize their profits and their bottom line. But the companies don't always have to sacrifice the total quality of the product if the company does it the right way and invests in their operational investments. They can wind up making a product that they can reduce the costs of by their operational investments. They can even sell it at a lower price or include more features because they've made such good investments in their technologies and robotics and in software that they're able to manufacture the product for less, make a bigger profit, and deliver to the consumer a better product. And as our car companies grow, as I'm able to put more money into my operational investments, I'll be able to have a stronger cost reduction and be able to give, by the end of the simulation, be able to put my customer expectations higher, meet my customer expectations more, and develop a product that's a little bit more higher class. This is what Toyota and Honda have been very good at, delivering cars that increase their profit margins, but yet don't shortchange the consumer. But in the beginning, they are still beginning, in the middle, and today they're still concerned about maintaining or increasing profit margins. And in some cases, some car companies have redesigned vehicles in a way that makes them more affordable, but yet the consumers barely notice the change in the actual features or the design of the vehicle. Okay, well, to wrap it up here today in round two, if you want to have a successful third round, you have to completely analyze your strengths and weaknesses on your overview page. Compare yourself to your industry competitors on how they're performing and what they've done better than you that you can learn from. And then redesign your vehicles in a way that's going to increase your profit margin and carefully forecast your sales. Invest in your marketing efficiently by using the student user guide and make sure that you maintain an increasing of operational investments to maintain your profit margins. And at the same point, we're going into the third and fourth round, it may start becoming time where we can actually afford to pay down some of the debt that we borrowed to help reduce our financial. Actually, I'm adding additional funds here. I'm going to try and reduce my debt this round to actually decrease my interest expense and help reduce my outstanding debts, because I think this round I'll have enough profits based on my investments to do that. But we'll see. Okay, that's it for now. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.